The United States men's national team crashed out of the 2024 Olympics after an embarrassing 4-0 loss to Morocco, putting an end to a catastrophic summer for the US men's national team, with now this elimination in the quarterfinals of the Olympics, a very bad one, right? It was 4-0, not 2-0, not 1-0, alongside with the Copa America group stage exit. The summer started filled with hope, and you know what they say about hope? It kills. And boy, we got slaughtered. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the 7 Things We Learned series, where every single day following a United States men's national team match, we tell you 7 things that we learned. Now, obviously, a lot of the lessons will be negative, if not most of them. We lost 4-0, we're eliminated. It's hard to bring a lot of positivity after that. Next week, we're going to probably do 2 episodes that we're going to try to show a positive outlook for our future, which is going to depend a lot on the coaching hire. But that'll be next week. I'll bring a guest. We'll do like a bit of a debate, discussion on those topics. Today, we're going to focus on the 4-0 loss from the United States men's national team that eliminated us from the Olympics against Morocco. I just want us to stop sucking. Is that too much to ask for? With that said, everyone, don't forget to drop a like in this video so we can try to hit 1,000 likes like we did in the last video. So thank you very much for that. And let me know in the comment section down below, what did you learn from the United States this Olympics? Or more specifically, this game where we lost 4-0 to Morocco. Let's go to lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 is something we sort of learned more and more this summer. We were already questioning the mentality of this current generation, but it seems like the US men's national team these days at all levels, right? U20s, U23, the senior team, it seems like we no longer have that grit and passion from the previous generations. And understand, we always lacked quality, but never really grit. Now apparently we lack both. When was the last time that the United States men's national team pulled a legit upset? I can't remember. Maybe 10 years ago? 12? 15? It's been a while. And here's the thing. If you are an underdog and you're playing against a superior team, you have to out-hustle, out-fight, and out-grind your opponent. Also, tactics come into play. We suck at that, but that's a different topic for a different lesson. But it just doesn't feel like the previous generations where they would be the underdogs and still manage to put up a fight. By previous generations, I mean like the 2000s, I guess like 94 would be one, and even in the early 2010s. Now, talking about the Olympics specifically, and this kind of serves for the Copa America team as well, these guys seem to put in the effort, right? The Olympic team. I'm not questioning that, but the grit and passion seems to be lacking. When we were down, there was no sense of urgency. It didn't seem like they cared. No one was fired up. Besides the select few like Kevin Paredes, he seemed to really care, for example. Our teams used to have that fight in them, that dog in him, despite lacking the quality. But I just didn't see it in the Copa America. I didn't see it in the Olympics. I didn't see it in the 2022 World Cup. So what happened? Now we're off to lesson number 2. And after we failed to get out of our group in the 2024 Copa America at home, we saw a lot of the MLS shills, especially media and then some fans, say that we needed Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson to fix that back line, or at least one of them, right? That's what they said, a lot of them. Well, guess what? Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson started every single game in the Olympics, which is a U23 tournament, much weaker than the Copa America, and they failed us. The veteran MLS back line with Miles Robinson and Walker Zimmerman conceded more goals per game in total than the US men's national team in the Copa America. And again, this was in a U23 tournament. Miles and Zimmerman are veterans. They're in their prime. Maybe not Miles because of the injury, but still, they are veterans. This team in the Olympics conceded 8 goals in 4 games. 2 games against good teams, good U23 teams, which was France and Morocco, and 2 against abysmal teams like Guinea and New Zealand, which I'm not even sure those are professional teams. While the United States men's national team conceded 3 goals in the Copa America, one of them was against Uruguay, right, which is a much better opponent than this Moroccan side and the French side. that scored 7 goals, both teams combined, against the United States in the Olympics. And keep in mind, Panama is definitely better than the New Zealand and Guinea teams that we faced. There are no excuses. Miles and Zimmerman ain't it, and they shouldn't be in the A roster by any means. I will say this, however, Zimmerman looked way better than Miles Robinson for whatever that's worth. Just to close this one, Miles Robinson was terrible during the Olympics. Walker Zimmerman wasn't really that bad, but he also didn't stand out in a way that I would expect from an overage center back. Okay, just to make that clear. Lesson number 3 is Mitrovic is not a good coach. We gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he failed. Understand that losing to Morocco in the quarterfinals is not a failure. It's the way he lost and, the decisions that he made in the overall tournament. Let's put it this way. First and foremost, it was a poor roster. And we talked about this in the preview for the Olympics. We talked about this in the roster reaction stream. He brought 3 overage players, where one of them was an Eredivisie flop, a guy that flopped in the Dutch league. And then the other 2 were 2 MLS center backs, a league that is known for having bad defenders. He died on the Mihailovic hill until he finally subbed him out against Morocco after another mediocre performance. He thought Duncan Maguire would be useful. I watch a lot of Orlando City. Duncan Maguire should have never gone to the Olympics. Against Morocco, for example, his in-game management was abysmal. He didn't really make a substitution until the 66th minute when we were already down 2-0. We were also super deep when needing a goal in transition, where we were down 1-0, no threat on the counterattack, no game plan, no adjustment, just like Greg Berhalter. He barely used Taylor Booth. He also got trashed 3-0 and 4-0 by the only decent to good opponents that he faced. He only defeated the 2 semi-pro teams that he played against. New Zealand's U23s, which is not a good team, and then Guinea, that's also not a good team, and they didn't look like a real team. They looked disjointed, poorly coached. So essentially, he had 2 tests during the Olympics, France and Morocco. He lost 3-0, he lost 4-0. That's a failure. The dude is ass. All right, lesson number 4. And we already talked about the coach, Mitrovic. Not good. The roster is on him. He selected these players. But let's just accept the fact that the players that were in this Olympics, with some rare exceptions, like 3 or 4 players, most of them are bad or mediocre at best. I'll give you a few examples. I think Kevin Paredes has potential. Griffin Yao has potential. Taylor Booth has potential. The goalkeepers are very young, so maybe they have some potential too. Caleb Wiley, I'm interested in seeing how he'll play out with his transfer to Chelsea and playing in Ligue 1. But outside of that, most players are very mid or not good. Even people hyping up Tanner Tessman, I still have a lot of question marks in regards to how far Tessman can go, even if he gets a big move in Italy. Look at it this way. Regardless of Mitrovic being a terrible coach, we couldn't complete 3 to 4 passes against France or Morocco. There was no control of the tempo. Most players had little to no ability in tight spaces. The roster was bad. Of course, the coach built it, but I'm just saying, most of the players that were here will never be in the A team, at least not as starters. Some of them can make it to the roster eventually because it's not like our depth is crazy good. But I'm sorry, most players just weren't very good. That's the truth. And I really wanted them to be good because we need better players. Like US Soccer literally needs better players so we can kind of stop sucking. But now let's go to lesson number 5. And lesson number 5 is, what the heck is our federation doing? I talked about this actually prior to the Olympics, and I'm going to say it again. Could they really not have gotten any of our U23 players released? Tillman, Giorena, Johnny, Pepe, Balogun, Musa, Scally, none of them? Could they also not have gotten any of the over the age limit players? Tim Ream, Christian Pulisic, even Josh Sargent, Chris Richards, none of them? Not one? So you're telling me that Hakimi got released, Julian Alvarez, Otamendi was there, Naby Keita, Lacazette, Olise that just signed with Bayern was there too. So there were a lot of good players that were released. I mean, we couldn't even get any of our Olympic age eligible players, none of the overage as well. I find that hard to believe. Maybe, just maybe, and hear me out, this is the theory, so put allegedly on that. Maybe this was more, with the goal of promoting MLS. Maybe that's what they wanted, right? I mean, we saw the MLS PR account constantly post about their players in the Olympics. I mean, that's fair. Why wouldn't you, right, if you got them there? But look at this. Even the US men's national team's roster announcement in the US Soccer website, they made sure to do their own MLS marketing. And look at what they wrote. They put this on one of the headlines. I don't know why this is so relevant for a roster announcement. Right at the headline, 17 of the 18 players on the roster have played in Major League Soccer or are developed in an MLS academy. I don't know, man. I mean, was that really necessary, along with all the PR on Twitter? I don't know. This is just a theory. It seems fishy to me. It seems like this was more of a MLS promotion campaign than a legitimate roster. I just really find it hard to believe that these were the best players we could have sent. Maybe the goal was to promote MLS, like I said, but I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. And understand, I have no issue with MLS promoting MLS. They should do that. I actually fully support MLS doing that. What I have an issue with is when US Soccer and Major League Soccer have some type of conflict of interest. And one of them would be to have Don Garber, the MLS commissioner, in the US Soccer board for 13 terms. That to me is a conflict of interest. He shouldn't be there, but again, I'm just a conspiracy theorist on YouTube. That's all I am. So let's move on from that and let's talk about lesson number 6. And lesson number 6 is pretty simple, pretty straightforward and upsetting, is that we still have a goalkeeper problem. So I came into the Olympics hoping one of the two goalkeepers that are very young, Gabriel Sonina and Patrick Schulte, would stand out. And we would come out of this Olympics saying, we need to give him a shot over Turner. Now, I don't think Schulte was horrible, but he didn't really inspire much confidence, didn't seem like a great goalkeeper, and Gabriel Sonina got no minutes. We need to move on from Turner, and we need to find a better option, but it doesn't seem like Schulte is ready. I'm okay with us giving him a chance, but I'm just saying he doesn't seem like he's the solution. Will Gabriel Sonina be the solution? Maybe, but he was on the bench, so maybe he's not even better than Schulte right now. They're very young, and they have potential, but I kind of wanted a new goalkeeper now, and it seems like we might still go with Matt Turner. Last but not least, lesson number 7, and this is the most important of them all. Over these past 5 to 6 years, we saw how much influence Greg Berhalter had on the senior team. I mean, he was the coach, and the youth teams, right? The methodology, the philosophy, the way we played, everything. So it's extremely important to get the new coaching hire right. It has to be a guy with a different vision, an outsider, not connected to Major League Soccer, that will bring new ideas, a new vision for US Soccer, that will go from the senior program to the youth teams. This is crucial. This summer was a disaster. We got grouped in the Copa America, which was the worst possible outcome we could have expected for that competition. And in the Olympics, we were pretty mediocre. We beat 2 semi-pro teams, and we got trashed by the 2 good to decent teams we played against. There has to be change. And if we hire a good coach, an outsider, someone from Europe or maybe South America, then the pain that we went through right now will have been worth it. Now, if we sign an MLS coach like a Steve Cherundolo, for example, then honestly, we might as well have just, gotten out of our group in the Copa America, gotten that extra game, kept some excitement, and kept Berhalter, because I don't think anything will change if that happens. So as long as we get a good coach, everything that happened this summer was worth it for the greater good, the big picture of US Soccer. I am cautiously optimistic that we're going to get a coaching announcement the next 14 to 21 days, and I'm hoping it's a good name. But as I said earlier in the video, sometimes, or very often, hope kills. I hope it doesn't kill us again. Because technically, you can't die twice, right? All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go in the random comment to rig the YouTube algorithm. Now, look, the summer coverage is coming to an end. We'll do 2 videos next week just to wrap things up, and then we're going to start eventually the US men's national team abroad coverage that we do every season for the Americans that play in Europe. But before we get to any of that, I want to thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for all the support y'all have been giving us throughout the summer. In helping the channel grow. I know it sucked. It was a terrible summer from a U.S. men's national team soccer fan perspective, but let's hope things get better. And during the September camp that we have, let's hope we have a good coach by then. So once again, I want to thank you all very much for watching and have a great day.